Number 1. Sarah Jane Newman, also known as Sally Skull. Sarah Jane Newman was born tough. Born in 1817 to one of the first families to settle in Austin, Texas territory, Newman, also known as Sally Skull or Skull, grew up having to defend her family's land from constant attack. Legend says her mother, Rachel Newman, once cut off the toes of a Comanche Indian who was trying to get through their front door. Newman married Jesse Robinson at age 16, and they had 2 children together. After 10 years of marriage, Robinson filed for divorce and Newman was married to her namesake husband, George Skull, less than 2 weeks later. He died mysteriously in 1849. Her next husband, John Doyle, also died under mysterious circumstances after a short marriage. Inheriting her mother's spirit, Skull became notorious as a male-dressing, gun-slinging, horse-trading woman. She would make the treacherous trip alone to Mexico twice a year and come back with horses that were likely stolen, but no proof could be found. She's rumored to have killed 2 of her 5 husbands. Number 2. Mary Catherine Harrony, also known as Big Nose Kate. Mary Catherine Harrony was born into a wealthy Hungarian family which immigrated to New York City in 1860 and settled in Davenport, Iowa. Kate's parents died several years later when she was 14, and she was placed in the foster care system. Kate ran away from her caregiver at age 16 and claims to have married a dentist she met on a steamboat en route to St. Louis, who she says died of yellow fever. When her husband died, Kate went to a convent for a short period of time before working as a prostitute in St. Louis. She later moved to Fort Griffin, Texas, and met Doc Holliday, a well-known gunfighter who was also a dentist. By that time, she had already picked up the nickname Big Nose Kate. Kate introduced Holliday to Wyatt Earp, one of the Wild West's most famous professional gamblers and lawmen. She spent the next several years acting as Holliday's sidekick as she followed him across the country. Kate and Holliday married and moved around while Holliday made money gambling, working as a dentist and operating saloons, while Kate worked as a prostitute. Holliday then joined Earp in the well-off little town of Tombstone, Arizona territory. Kate visited him often, including during the days leading up to the gunfight at the OK Corral, one of the Wild West's most talked about and portrayed shootouts. Number 3. Belle Starr. Born in 1848 to a prosperous family in Missouri, Myra Maybelle Shirley should have become a proper young lady, married a rich man, and never done anything interesting in her life. But, as luck would have it, Starr preferred to be outdoors learning to shoot a gun with her older brother, Bud, than stay inside the all-girls school she attended. Fate changed the stars for Starr when her family moved to Syene, Texas in 1864. She would meet members of Jesse James's crew here, the Missouri-based James Younger Gang. The gang is well known in Old Western history for their robberies of banks, trains, and stagecoaches in at least 10 different states. Starr knew them from her childhood in Missouri. In 1866, Starr married a horse thief named Jim Reed, who, in 1869, murdered a man who was said to have killed his brother. After the murder, the couple fled to California together. Jim was shot to death in 1874. Left as a widow, Belle joined the Starr clan and married a Cherokee man, Samuel Starr, giving her the name that would forever be associated with the legend of her life. It was then that she submerged herself in outlawry. She became the mastermind behind the gang. Starr was arrested several times, but it seemed she was just as good at eluding sheriffs as she was at stealing horses. They never had enough evidence to put her away, and she was often able to bribe them with earnings from her lucrative horse thieving and bootlegging enterprises. Sam Starr died in 1886, after which Belle was said to have been involved with a slew of interesting men. She then married Jim July Starr, her deceased husband's younger relative, to keep her land on Indian territory. In 1889, Starr was shot several times with a shotgun while riding home from a neighbor's house in Oklahoma. Her murderer is still unknown. Number 4. Etta Place. Most well known as Butch Cassidy's girlfriend and later the wife of Harry Longabaugh, Etta Place is shrouded in mystery. She is said to have been from Texas. Historians know that she was a sweetheart to the Wild Bunch gang, that she assisted Cassidy and Longabaugh in certain heists and fled with them to Argentina. but her exact identity and life after Longabaugh's death are mostly unknown. Theories have suggested that she and Ann Bassett, one of the famous cattle-rustling Bassett sisters, were one and the same, because of similar looks and their ties to the Wild Bunch gang. Photographic evidence analyzed by historians in recent years has suggested this may be the case. Number 5. Eleanor Dumont, also known as Madame Mustache. Perhaps born in New Orleans to Creole parents around 1829, Dumont's early life is not well known. She was known for her card-dealing skills as a Gold Rush-era gambler. She moved around frequently and eventually appeared in Nevada City, California, opened up a gambling house, and immediately enticed men with her good looks and even better manners. Dumont fell in love with con man Jack McKnight, who stole her money and sold her ranch. In retaliation, Dumont tracked McKnight down and shot him dead. After that, she returned to gambling. As she aged, Dumont became plump, and a thick line of hair began to grow on her upper lip, earning her the nickname Madame Mustache. After that, Dumont's fortunes continued to dwindle. She turned to prostitution and became the madame of a brothel in her later years. In 1879, she lost $300 of borrowed money in one night of gambling. She was found dead the next morning of an apparent suicide via morphine overdose. Number 6. Bonnie Parker. Born in 1910 in Rowena, Texas, Parker was a bright student with aspirations to become an actress. But everything changed when 19-year-old Bonnie met 20-year-old ex-con Clyde Barrow in 1930. The two fell immediately in love, and Bonnie joined Clyde's gang to become a full-time thief and murderer. Bonnie and Clyde embarked on a 2-year crime spree that crossed 5 states and killed 13 civilians. In 1933, a warrant was issued for Bonnie and Clyde's arrest. They died in an ambush led by Texas Ranger Frank Hamer in 1934.